mean, the main event is a special circumstance for a poker player, and you have to arrange your life around it.
The main event's really unlike any other tournament.
I've been playing poker a long time. I don't really hope for anything. I've played so many tournaments and I never win them. So if I win one, that'll be super sick.
This is my 7th year playing the WSOP main event, and finally my first cash. So it's been amazing. I can't even explain the feeling right now.
$10 million is life-changing money, but getting that bracelet is important to everyone, and it goes hand in hand with the money.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but this is already a life changer.
Let's shuffle up and deal. Dexter Solly Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship. This is gonna be the best day of Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott as the remaining 43 players continue to track down that $10 million first place prize. Kyle Karanen has moved past his nemesis, Curtis Rystad.
When he knocked out Curtis, Kyle said that was the best thing that could happen to him. I guess the second best thing would be to win the main event.
The biggest story remaining is that man, Mark Newhouse.
If this guy makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will cook 2 Cornish hens and slice an avocado while standing on my head.
At Mark's table, former chess master, current tournament savant, Dan Smith.
Chess? That game's all luck, particularly online chess. Trust me, the real skill game is still checkers.
With 5 tables left, it's Karen and Jacobson and Dan Sindelar who have cracked the 10 million chip mark. Former chip leader Bruno Politano's in 7th.
That's a young group there with 2 old fogies lurking. Investor turned artist Don Gua and real estate businessman Peter Placey.
Fine, I'll take them.
You can try to take it next hand.
It's a challenge, sir.
At this stage of the tournament, every table pretty stacked. Russian Andrei Zaichenko has been active and has the chip stack to prove it.
He's got the 2 other big stacks to his left. Maybe he shouldn't talk too much trash.
Indeed. Dan Smith is 2. Zaichenko's right.
Dan has 40 big blinds. That's enough wiggle room. It's like having both your knights and a rook left late in a chess match.
Action is on Dan Smith. The blinds at 40 and 80,000 with a 10K ante. Smith in the small blind, no action in front of him.
See if I can get my money back.
And he wants to call. Zaichenko now in the big blind, 10-9 of clubs. And he checks his option.
Could be a new Cold War developing here.
Here's the flop. Queen, Jack, 10, 2 spades, both with the same straight draw. Zaya, as they call him, also caught bottom pair.
Smith told Remco Rinkema in an interview that he doesn't like playing the smaller buy-in World Series events because you have to deal with a lot of jerks in the field. He can be blunt.
Smith bets half the pot, 125,000. Zaichenko, 36 from Moscow. Poker Pro makes the call. Turn card now. Another queen. Zaichenko now adds a straight flush draw.
Smith also says he often sees winning tournament players who are quote-unquote jaw-droppingly horrible. Says they'd lose a lot in any cash game. He's very blunt.
Smith, this might be the best player without a bracelet out there right now. Action on him.
He's the best player out there right now with 0% next to his name.
At best, he can hope for a chop. He bets 325.
With position, with the best hand, with the best draw, and with an expansionist president who may be intent on conquering the world, I like Zaichenko's spot here.
Zaichenko makes the call, but he can't be too happy with Smith's actions.
But the Cold War is getting a bit chilly for Dan Smith.
6 of spades on the river. Zaichenko's 2 pair is best. There's a 3rd spade out there, though.
What will Dan Smith do now?
Well, he received no pushback from Zaichenko on the turn.
Well, that was an odd smile. Will Smith fire a 3rd barrel from his nuclear arsenal?
675,000.
Yes, he will.
Smith with sheer aggression that Vladimir Putin would be proud of.
Zaichenko thinks.
No, Zaichenko's hand is pretty, but pretty doesn't always win pots. Smith's got him concerned here. Psst, Andre, he's bluffing!
Smith with just about half the stack of Zaichenko. But Dan knows precisely where the poker pressure points are, and he gets Zaya to lay it down.
Dan Smith started with Squadouche and ended with Squadouche, but got his money back.
Up to $3.8 million, the Russian down to about $6.2 million. Smith is a regular on the tournament circuit, but when he's in his Canadian home, he surrounds himself with a familiar group.
Through my travels, I met a lot of cool people who happen to be from Toronto. Aside from the winters, I really like the city. This is my place. These are my friends from Jersey, Chuck Volpe, who was kind enough to invest 1% of me in the main.
When we all get together, it's just always the same as it's always been.
Poker superstar Matt Lowe.
It's hard when you're all older, but it's great to see that we're such good friends. We always make time for each other.
Bus Coover and Jeff Udovic. It's really great that I've stayed in touch with like my childhood friends over all these years.
Oh, he's turned into a total basically. It's gone straight to his head.
Mad Dog and I are gonna play a little chess. Oh, let's do it. I started off as a competitive chess player, starting at like age 7, and was playing seriously for maybe like 7 years. All right, good luck, pal. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
He's one of the better chess players that I know in poker. It's the only chess game that I'm ever going to see you play. He's pretty strong.
I think you're in some trouble, pal.
Pretty humble about it.
When your king can't move anywhere, this is what they call in the business checkmate.
Most of the time.
I'm gonna take a victory sip. They're gonna take it to the streets. Can Jam is a frisbee game where you throw a frisbee at these little concoctions here. You could throw it to your partner who could tap it in. You could throw it at the garbage can, throw it through the little slit for a win.
He's always been super competitive, just like anything we were doing, like we were playing Foursquare at lunch, you know what I mean? He was just like a total lunatic to play anything with. So, yeah, it's totally the same guy.
Getting the frisbee in the can is a good strategy. We're done, ending on a high note. Boom. Like getting to spend time with like your favorite people is the best. They treat me the exact same way when we were kids.
Trash can frisbee, one of the fastest growing sports in America until the PED scandal of the late 90s.
Every year, players run deep who got their gaming starts elsewhere. Dan Smith in chess, Billy Pappas in foosball, to name a couple. Is there such a thing as a well-rounded poker player? Or should aspiring pros play poker 24/7 in order to play poker?
It's all about specialization these days. My stepson Isaiah was enrolled in 5-star basketball camp at 18 months. On the other hand, I didn't know I wanted to be a journalist until I got a paper route when I was 18 years old. Sure, playing a lot of poker helps you get better, but a balanced life helps too. It's not healthy to sit at a poker table around the clock whining about bad beats, so play chess or foosball. Be pen pals with a convicted felon. Get a pet hamster. But most importantly, watch your cholesterol levels.
Good advice. To an outer table, one-time chip leader Michael Finstein re-raised all in with pocket tens. Kyle Karanen has taken up the challenge, holding ace-queen off.
Finstein, 17 big blinds left. A couple of piano playing 30-something Las Vegas pros here.
But Finstein's the one in danger of hearing the fat lady sing. Jack 8 king. Finstein still ahead, but more drama as Kyle picked up a Broadway draw.
Both are humming Chopin Sonata No. 2 in B-flat minor in their head right now.
Turn card. The Queen of Hearts, that pairs Karanen, and now it's do or die for Finstein.
Finstein now up against it. He'll need an ace or a 9, or his main event is over.
The river card, the deuce of spades won't do it. Michael becomes the latest main event statistic, knocked out by Kyle Karanen.
What a shame. Musician on musician violence, never pretty.
42nd place will pay over 186 grand for Finstein, by far his biggest ever poker payday. And Kyle Karanen still the man to beat, over 12.2 million. He was winning flips on day 4. He's winning them here on day 6. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the WSOP social game on Facebook and mobile. Try our new high roller tables today. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Just 41 players remain inside the Amazon room. 9 will play in November. First-timer Billy Pappas would love to be one of those 9.
Each day at this main event, he just tells himself, this could be the biggest day of my life, and it's working.
Tom Serra Jr. is also a first-timer with designs on that final table. Both Pappas and Serra have made terrific runs to reach this point of the event.
Everybody knows it's a crazy grind. I mean, it's my first grind, so I'm learning every day, learning something new. Of course I think about the money. It's life-changing money, and money helps, you know, in a lot of ways in life.
This is surreal.
It's just surreal. I cannot believe it. I'm playing so well. I haven't put myself at risk, and it's very, very few times I've had the best hands, and it's just I'm getting good cards, and I'm playing good. It's just crazy. The money, the people, everything. I know I'm not as good as the pros. I'm hoping I don't make mistakes. Everything goes through my head. My family, the sights, the sounds, and it's more than the money. It's just knowing that I can play. It's a dream. Play the same thing I've been playing. Play the same way. I mean, hopefully I keep it up.
Scott Mahan, 47 from Elk Point, South Dakota. Just check raised all in with queens up. Robert Park called him with a lesser two pair.
Mahan's family business for 22 years was cutting the aortic heart valves out of pigs for human transplants.
I haven't bad beat someone in a long time.
That's nice to know.
We're due.
You're due this? God.
Park is a 28-year-old venture capitalist from Georgia, trying to knock out Mahan. Turn card is a king, a better two pair for Mahan now.
Lon, our family business was a lemonade stand, but we went bust because we didn't know how to make lemonade, and my dad got tired of running up to Safeway to buy some.
So 3 across sweaters. 3 spots.
You can see how nervous Mahan is.
Oh, yeah. River card is a jack. Mahan doubles up through Robert Park.
There's your rail.
Yeah, what a sense of relief for Scott. Poker players always think they're going to have another opportunity, but older players and amateurs like Scott Mahan really take the opportunity to heart.
A key double up for Scott.
That was good. We needed that. That was awesome.
Vicky's right. Each pay bump at this point, a significant amount of cash for all the players. Main event championship bracelet right now in a place of honor near our featured table. Let's go back there now.
Betting or shoving, I couldn't see how much I had left behind. Probably shove there.
Is it what? I'm so confused.
Big chips in front.
The players' largest denomination chips do have to be out front and visible.
Why don't you just ask me, bud? I'm right here.
No, I mean, he said something before.
He's right there. You know, we're living in a society.
Zaichenko raised under the gun with kings. Newhouse called with suited connectors. Brian Roberts now.
I didn't want to bug you if you played this hand.
Well, Dan's bugging me now. And can't all these guys take off their ridiculous sunglasses?
On the button is Aaron Kaiser. Ace tray of clubs.
For my tastes, Aaron Kaiser's really got to move a little quicker.
Maryland guys tend to need time to absorb all information.
He's absorbed it.
He folds. Folded to Smith in the big blind. Ace queen. Might get a little pricier now to stay in this hand.
Smith can come off sometimes as rather prickly at the table. There's reason for that.
Zaichenko raised under the gun and got a call from Newhouse.
750,000.
And there is the re-raise to 750 from Smith.
The Cold War could escalate again. Lon, have I ever given you my theory that the old Soviet Union never really broke up?
Have you looked at Google Maps lately? It's broken up.
I know what I know.
So Zaichenko is happy with the developments here with his pocket kings. A 3-bet from Smith. And now a 4-bet from Zaichenko. His kings emboldening his every move, $1.8 million. And that gets rid of Newhouse.
All right, folks, back over to Dan.
Dan Smith now with ace queen.
That's 1.8.
1.8, Lon.
1.8 it is.
Smith taking stock of his inventory and perhaps also taking stock of the fact that he might not want to risk his main event here on ace queen.
I was going to ask you about that. His thinking is another step ahead. Any commitment here might be 100% commitment.
Correct. Plus, Smith knows Zaichenko is capable of 4-betting light. Andre might have, you know, like a tier 2 hand.
Ooh. Dan Smith knowing this is a critical moment for his main event.
Hope he remembers he put his shades up there or he'll go to his next job interview with them right on top of his head.
Dan has showed some impatience before with slow play, but he's the one taking his time here. Back in a moment. Welcome back. Dan Smith faced with a difficult decision at the featured table. Is Andre Zaichenko making a move? Could ace queen be best? Dan weighing all of those possibilities.
If Smith folds here, he still has a comfortable stack, more than 40 big blinds.
But if there is going to be a knockout in this hand, Smith would be the victim. And Smith gives up ace-queen. Zaichenko will take it.
Zaichenko had the goods. Smith with the good laydown.
It's good to have kings. 1 million fresh chips for Andre.
A little worried you about to just windmill it in my face, and I was going to go suicide.
The Russian now with 91 big blinds, very comfortable. Earlier on day 6, Dan Smith was on the other side of a tank, calling the clock on Jason Leifer in a hand against Brazilian Bruno Politano.
Time.
Mira clock.
Why are you timing for him?
Do you think if he has more time, he doesn't shove? He wasn't thinking. No. I could see him.
It's a long day, man.
Oh, it won't be a long day if every hand takes 15 minutes. I have no idea of concept of time when I'm in the tank. Any guess how long that was?
3 minutes, I would say.
I said more.
Well, you think it's more than 3?
Yeah,
About
like
4 minutes.
More like 6.
Really?
No, that's like 4
I'll take
minutes.
under 6.
I think under 6 as well.
Yeah. No.
What's 6?
8 minutes?
8
minutes? The hand. The tank was probably more than 4 or less than 5.
More time than I would like to admit. It was like a funky fraction, and I couldn't figure out it as a percentage. And I just was like, I don't, like 80 over 84. What the does that even mean?
Brian Roberts was right. Dan's tank was about 4.5 minutes. One player who never tanks is that man, Mark Newhouse. Here's Kara Scott with a report on Mark's day 6.
Mark Newhouse started the day as the chip leader, and although he's dropped down in the rankings, his chip stack is pretty much where it was at the start of the day, and he's not been shy about putting those chips into action. He's had quite a few pots where he's had to show down less than premium starting hands to the rest of the table. He told me that he's really enjoying that kind of big stack play, and he hopes his interesting hands make it onto the ESPN coverage. He also said that his table mates think he's crazy, and that is a very good thing to have going for him.
Crazy image, hitting cards, big stack. It all sets up for him to shift gears and start showing down some premium hands.
Action on Ivan Lightbourne, 23-year-old poker pro from London. Queen Jack of diamonds, a raise to 175. Newhouse with 7-6 on the button.
Newhouse 0 for 17 at this World Series this summer before the main event. No cashes until now, and of course now he's staring at back-to-back November 9s.
He was the underdog last year, but now a wily veteran of the ways of this main event, and he will re-raise to 400,000 with 7-6.
Yeah, it looks like Newhouse is not shifting gears yet.
Brian Roberts with 9-4 in the big blind, and he'll give it up. So back to Lightbourne.
Lightbourne, good friends with fellow British pro Sam Trickett, whom he calls the best there is.
I run as a regular in some of London's biggest cash games, and he is going to duel with Mark Newhouse now.
Newhouse only a 2-to-1 dog here. That's virtually a coin flip for him.
All right, here's the flop, heads up. Trey King 9, a gut shot for Lightbourne. No improvement for Newhouse's hand.
Lightbourne attended Bedfordshire University for a while, studying business.
He checks.
A bet here might take it down.
Well, Newhouse showed some pushback pre-flop. A lot of opponents will fold to push back. Lightbourne came along, but now with the check, you got to think Newhouse is going to put pressure on him. And there is 425.
Lightbourne with a gut shot, and Newhouse with a reputation to bet with next to nothing, so maybe this bet won't take it down. Actually, a check raise here might take it down.
Lightbourne putting chips together to call.
Well, Mark, here's a crazy hand that's making the ESPN coverage.
That's what he wanted. Turn card deuce of diamonds. Lightbourne adds a flush draw. His queen high is best. He checks again.
I don't think a bet here will take it down.
But Newhouse is putting chips together. 775.
Actually, if Lightbourne doesn't pick up a flush draw, this bet might work. It still might work. It's a good bet, I think, now.
But Lightbourne is not a newbie to this game. Looks like he's not going anywhere.
All in.
Oh, wow. A check raise all in and a snap fold from Newhouse.
Oh, Lightbourne bluff shoves with the best hand, and it works.
With queen high.
I could never bluff shove, Lon. Weak heart, weak stomach. The
5.3 million chips for Lightbourne, a bit under the chip average right now. The 23-year-old Lightborn living in London and does admit he has a cat named Princess.
Well, a lot of players here have dogs. Matthew Haugen, Oscar Kemps, Billy Pappas. How do you counter that? With a cat. I think it's a great play.
I love the name. It sounds like an action movie star, Ivan Lightborn. All right, Lightborn with pocket trays as we'll keep it here at the featured table under the gun +1 and a raise to $175,000. Newhouse folds 5 deuce. Such added pressure with a payout so high. A single mistake can put you on the rail. Roberts with ace 10.
And by the way, we have 37 players left, so there is a money bubble in play at the moment.
Yeah, the difference between 37th and 36, about 44,000. And Roberts folds ace 10. Now Kaiser on the button, your guy.
Yeah, with king 6 off. Aaron, you're 28. Before you know it, you're going to be 68 and wondering where all the time went. Muck your cards.
He does just that. In the small blind, Oscar Kemps folds to Smith in the big. Ace, king of hearts. He's made 2 final tables at this year's World Series already. Lightborn raised it from early position.
525,000.
And there is a re-raise to 5 1/4.
Now we saw Smith 3-bet out of the big blind with ace queen against Zaichenko. And now he 3-bets out of the big blind with ace king against Lightborn.
525,000.
Now Lightborn with a bigger stack. Got a lot of those purples. There's a 4-bet to $1,075,000.
Oh, I like the cut of Lightborn's jib. See, that cat named Princess is just there to throw people off. Dan appears to be recounting his original raise. I don't understand that.
1.075 million.
Dan Smith with a tier 1 hand you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and one of our producers, Zach Ralston, says that if a player looks back at his cards and then raises, it's always a big hand.
Note to self.
If 2 players bust on this hand, does it matter like when it is into the break or for the pay jump? So we would chop the split difference. If someone on an opposite table, it doesn't matter how far into the break. I'm all in.
Dan willing to go to the mat with ace-king suited. Lightborn folds. A little power poker goes a long way. Dan Smith's break just got a little more enjoyable. A 5-bet with no showdown brings a 32% increase to his stack. We return from our break. The players return from their break. And we have a new featured table. Kyle Karanen returns to the scene of the Curtis Rystad crime. And infrequent poker pro Brian Bevanshire joins him. Poker is the break that Devo takes from his full-time job.
I made my entry into the profession of whitewater rafting guiding in 2002 and just loved that component of interaction with people. I mean, it's a lot like poker. You assess your opponents, if you will, the people in your boat, and you figure out how best to get 100% of whatever they can give you in paddling, you know, and then you take all that and turn it into a successful river trip. In this indoor digital world, people just don't get outside enough, and so, you know, you can't help but have adrenaline running when you're whitewater rafting, and I love that. Poker is really just a means to an end to allow me to play in the woods, to have those seasonal jobs and to be floating down the river. And it gives me that balance I need to make poker something that I'm excited to do.
Devo could have been the Marlboro man if he were born 50 years earlier. He's got the look.
Irrefutable.
Action on Gal Ehrlichman, 32-year-old, born in Israel, now a realtor in Miami. Ace-Jack offsuit.
He majored in finance at IDZ Herzliya in Israel. I believe they are the running rebels.
That's something to think about with a short stack.
16 big blinds.
And it looks like they're all going in the middle. $1,665,000. On the button, Max Senft, Australian college student. Pretty good poker player, too, with an ace.
He has an economics degree from Wirtschaftsuniversität Wien in Vienna. I believe they are also the running rebels.
Well, you got more chips than me now?
Rich people problems.
9.2. Never having more chips than you.
Senft folds. Sindelard now in the small blind. He folds.
Ooh, good one. Wow. I call.
And with kings, Devonshire calls.
I found it. I got lottery tickets.
From the big.
Jeez, you called it, too. You, like, called your shot.
All has ace of hearts.
Ehrlichman literally skydives once a week to relieve stress. I guess going all in on day 6 of the main event is the opposite of skydiving.
Be gentle, please.
All right, the flop, Ehrlichman at risk. And there's a jack. Ehrlichman needs a little more, though.
Probably should give him a 5 or a deuce now.
Yeah, Ehrlichman still with a lot of work to do to survive.
Turn card now. Is a jack!
Yes! Yes! Come on, baby! Yes! No king. No king, baby.
Only a king busts Ehrlichman now.
The river card is a queen! Ehrlichman will survive!
Not going anywhere. Yeah.
I don't know the whitewater rafting analogy here, but it's probably something to do with capsizing.
Ehrlichman doubles to nearly $3.5 million, putting a pothole in Devo's progress as Brian hands off over a quarter of his chips.
He called his pocket kings lottery tickets. They were losing tickets.
So Devo's welcome to this featured table. Not too kind, but he still has a decent-sized stack. He's one of 37 players still in contention for that $10 million first-place prize.
Second largest main event first prize ever behind the $12 million Jamie Gold scored in 2006.
We'll keep it here. Action on Brian Devonshire, 6'5" of clubs. As you see, he's a San Francisco Giants fan. Actually lives in Frisco, Colorado, but don't call San Francisco Frisco, all right?
Frisco.
From the button, a raise to 220. He better be careful, trying to get his chips back too soon.
Folds from the small.
Tom Serra Jr., one of our first-timers.
He quit dealing poker 6 months ago so they could take care of his grandmother.
From the big blind, he's going to call. Ace-deuce against 6'5" of clubs. Here's the flop. 4-deuce-10. Serra with bottom pair. He checks. Devonshire with a couple of draws and a couple of overcards is the favorite.
This is Devo's second top 50 finish in the main event in the last 4 years.
280,000 from Brian and a call from Serra.
Easy bet for Devo on the draw, and Serra made it look like an easy call.
Serra checks dark. Turn card is a tray. Devonshire hits the straight and has Serra drawing dead.
Devonshire hits gin. Wow. That's the first time I've seen a tray on the turn change something since the Reagan administration.
Serra already checked, so action on Devo. That's 420,000 again.
Another quick call. Serra's drawn dead, but he thinks otherwise.
Another dark check from Serra, which is choosing not to see the next card before acting.
Checking in the dark is not Norman Chad's School of Poker approved. And I do it sometimes myself, but I'm a losing player. Devo with the straight. Serra with very bottom pair.
How much does Devo think he can get out of the rookie? 775.
Call.
775.
Did he say call?
Yeah.
Ending.
5-6.
Brian bets 775,000.
Devo will take it.
Easy go, easy come.
Nice answer.
Thanks.
What's the total?
775.
I guess Serra simply put Devo on high cards and decided his deuces were always good.
Tom's stack shrinks. The loser and the winner are all smiles.
Nice hand, man. Terrible. I played it terrible. Terrible.
Good job not raising at any point.
Nah, it was such bad play there.
So main event first-timer Tom Serra gets a little loose with his chips, and Devo benefits. The ups and downs of the main event very apparent in those last two hands. Devo back on the upswing.
You know what? I got no sleep. I thought I'd be playing at this table with you, and I was going to see how I could tilt you.
Yeah, I'm off my game completely.
I can't wait to get in a hand with you.
I call. Nice hand. And now I busted him. I mean, that's just the best thing that could ever happen.
Kyle Keranen battling Curtis Reisat on day 5. Kara caught up with Kyle earlier.
Kyle Keranen has been bouncing around the top of the leaderboard all day. Talk to us about what you need to do as a big stack at this point in a tournament like this.
I mean, you got to do a number of things. It's not really easy just to say, well, this is the exact one thing I need to do. I mean, you have to really be careful, but also apply pressure. I mean, a friend of mine calls it a controlled symphony. And I think that's a pretty good description.
Now, it seems like the atmosphere in the room kind of changed a little recently. We're at a fairly big money bubble. Do you think that's actually playing into some of the players' decisions?
That's news to me. I haven't even looked at the money bubbles or anything like that, so thanks for that information. It would probably come in handy. No, yeah, I mean, that's probably a really important thing that I should be paying attention to.
Thank you so much here on Day 6 with Kyle Kiernan.
You got a little yellow chip in your green there. Or orange, you know, depending on the color of glasses you wear.
LA cash game specialist Luis Velador has been enjoying this table, up to over 10.5 million chips now. Action is on Kiernan with his 12 million chips, King Deuce of Hearts.
Kyle's paying attention to everything, Alon, through the whole extended Curtis Rystat kerfuffle. He played quite well.
A raise to 225. Sarah does fold to Velador with queens in the small blind.
Velador, 51 years old, won a bracelet in 2008 and one in 2010.
He told us he learned to play poker the hard way. Translation, the expensive way, trial and error. And there's a re-raise to 650. Ehrlichman in the big blind. Folds 5 trades, so back to Kyle now.
Oh, Velador's 3-bet should shut down Kyle.
Should?
Should.
Won't. And he does call for 425 more with his suited 10 gapper.
I got to tell you, a suited 10 gapper in this case doesn't play post flop very well unless deuces are wild.
Pocket queens still rule after that flop.
Luis with 16 World Series cashes, and the only 2 times he made a final table, he won a bracelet.
Velador. That's 650,000. Kiernan, who missed.
Yeah, well, Kyle will rue the day if he makes this call. He'll rue it.
Let the ruing begin.
That's unfortunate.
So they're building a pot of almost 3 million here. Tray of hearts on the turn. Velador is still best, but Kiernan with straight and flush draws.
Well, even though Kyle picks up those draws, no reason for Luis to take his foot off the gas here.
1.1.
Yep, 1.1 million.
But that turn card actually means Kyle is getting the right price to call this bet. He's getting 3.5 to 1 on his money here, and he's just a 2 to 1 dog in the hand now. Lon, if all this math is throwing you off, I can call the rest of the hand.
Please do. And Kiernan will come along. These are the 2 biggest stacks at this table. River card. Ace of spades. So Velador's queens are best. He does check it, though.
Now, Luis can't be crazy about that ace. And it looks like Kyle will try to steal it here. That's not nice.
Kyle Kiernan did not build that chip stack by being nice. He's going to bet it. $1.8 million.
Call.
He said call.
You got it, man.
Oh, and Kyle got caught by Velador.
Can you roll that hand, please?
Kyle got schooled there. Luis Velador is a professional poker player, Lon.
I asked you to roll that hand, dealer.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
Well, it is considered poor etiquette to ask to see a player's losing cards. Dealer did not hear Devo's request. Velador will take it. A lot going on in that hand. Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari are here to explain it all in Pro Analysis.
This is great poker. This is where we see a float warble out of and kind of die towards the end.
Well, a float is when someone calls with 2 cards that are not that premium, just to see what your opponent does on the turn. And so Kyle is floating here with King Deuce, just in case Luis missed the flop and is now just doing a standard continuation bet. So I actually like the call on the flop with King Deuce of Hearts, just to see what my opponent does on the turn.
Then he has to call on the turn, of course, because he has all sorts of equity. And on the river, Luis gets...
Right, Luis doesn't love the ace, but I think he makes a great call, and he does it really fast. I think that he kind of just owned Kyle there.
Float gone wrong. Luis
Float
wins
gone
money.
wrong.
Float gone wrong, yeah.
I was the first in my family to double float, Lon. I'm very proud of that.
The first major misstep for Kyle Karen, and a float gone wrong. I like that. I'm going to steal it. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. At an outer table, short-stacked Aaron Kaiser in the hat has been milking the clock when it's his turn, hoping other players will bust out. He can make it to that next pay bump.
This guy tanks at 7-11, making a Slurpee choice.
I can only do it so many times, Joe. All right, clock.
A number of players have been calling the clock on Kaiser, and he does get rid of his cards finally.
Yeah, it's within his right to stall until tournament officials stop him from stalling.
Elsewhere, foosballer Billy Pappas open-raised with ace-10 off, and he got a couple of international callers in Spain's Andoni Larabe with pocket sevens and Norway's Felix Stevenson with jack-10 of hearts.
You might be wondering about the playing conditions here in the Amazon room. It's cold, but it isn't winter.
Well, the sevens hold up so far after that flop. Stevenson checks his jack-10.
Stevenson knows real cold. He's from Norway. Pappas also knows real cold. He's from Massachusetts.
With ace-10, he checks as well, and now with the best hand, the pocket sevens to Larabe.
Larabe's got an excuse. He's from Spain. This is frigid to him.
He bets 325.
No shame in folding.
No shame for Stevenson. Now, Pappas.
No shame in folding.
Billy Pappas is going to continue on, it looks like. More than continue on. He's got a number of those purple chips in hand.
I guess there's no shame in check raising.
And there is the check raise to 875 from the original raiser in the hand.
By the way, Pappas is not floating here. He's swaggle-foozing.
And Larabe with the best hand, the pocket sevens and fours on board, makes the call.
It's possible Pappas thinks his ace is best here. I can't figure out the foosball mind.
9 of hearts on the turn. Larabe's still good.
What, no more swaggle-foozing? Come on, Billy, fire out!
No, he checks. Larabe checks back. Pappas happy to see that check. River card, deuce of spades. The sevens are good.
That's one of the ugliest hold'em boards I've ever seen. And I started playing poker in the 1960s with Randall McMurphy at an Oregon psychiatric hospital.
Larabe with the pocket sevens and fours on board, but it's Pappas firing out into the bigger stack. Larabe, $1.5 million.
That's one of the ugliest bluffs I've ever seen. What can he have? As Antonio Esfandiari might tell us, his story doesn't add up. I don't buy it. It all falls apart in the final act.
So often when your opponent puts out a big bet on the river, it does scramble your brain. And Larabe gives it up, and give Pappas credit. He made it work.
That looks good. That looks good.
Yeah. That is one swaggle-foozing ball wizard.
Billy Pappas' check raise on the flop set up the winning bet on the river. For that, he gets tonight's Gentleman Jack right move. Andoni Larabe a fold at the wrong time, giving up the best hand and sliding a big pot to Pappas. More of the main event right after this. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the World Series of Poker Circuit Tour. Looking for live tournament action in a market near you? Check out the new schedule at WSOP.com. This year's last woman standing, Maria Ho, part of the growing rail here at the main event. And back to poker's rain delay. Aaron Kaiser under the gun now.
Yeah, this is like the old four-corner stall in college basketball. It's why they put the shot clock in.
He's got pocket aces.
My goodness.
Why'd you look so match break?
As we mentioned, a number of players have been calling the clock on him. And Chris Johnson takes his turn.
Yeah, this is pre-flop. Kaiser has aces, and they had to call a clock on him. This is unspeakable, even if it's allowable by the rules. Under the gun with aces, and he's tanking.
Side bet, 20 bucks he folds.
Yeah, I'll say this. No one will put Kaiser on pocket aces once he raises here.
Tournament official with the countdown. And there finally is his raise to $1,050,000, almost all in.
Yeah, Kaiser leaves $160,000 behind, I guess, in case he gets checked down somehow and he can play another hand.
So now to Dan Smith. And Smith looks down at pocket jacks.
Bad spot for jacks. He should insta-fold or take 12 minutes to call, which Kaiser would love.
I prefer the former. Well, Dan really was something to think about here. And Dan cutting out calling chips, and there is the call.
Boy, Kaiser has done this again and again here. At the moment, he has no friends at this table.
Action around to Johnson. He folds. Brian Roberts in the big blind.
There's action behind, bro.
I don't have it.
Heads up, aces for Kaiser, jacks for Smith. Kaiser with a few chips left behind.
Good luck. You don't want to wish me luck too? Thanks.
There's the flop and an ace. A set of aces for Kaiser after tanking.
No insta-shove, I guess.
No.
Boom.
Boom. Double boom. He flops 3 aces. He has 160,000 chips left. That's 1 big blind and change. He's tanking with top set because we're on a money bubble. If this is part of the game should be changed.
Guys, we're in a pot.
I like Aaron, but he will never be invited to my home game under any circumstance. Russ Hamilton will be in my home before he is.
Wow. Bold statement, Norman Chad.
Well, this is just ridiculous, Lon.
And the players are powerless at this point, as you mentioned, because of the rules. They could call the clock on him sooner.
I mean, come on, man. This is. You have 2 million.
Guys, you're
75,000 prepared.
And he checks his set. He's only got 160,000 behind. Dan puts them all in.
Actually, by his playbook, he is supposed to tank more.
Do you have it?
Well, show us before Social Security runs out.
There's the call. There's the set.
Oh, Dan Smith taking this surprisingly well. He has my okay to lose it.
So Aaron Kaiser testing everybody's patience. At least they can run the rest of the board out without delay.
This would be some Kentucky justice if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Kentucky justice? Come on.
You rolled me, dude.
I do apologize for the late rolling.
I mean, bro, granted, you want to pay jump, but when you got this with this one, here's a pretty good. Fortunately, this guy.
I don't know what Kentucky Justice is, but I think it would be Kentucky Justice if Dan wins this pot.
I almost bet 100,000 just so we could like tank. I'm like, maybe he's just gonna fold.
100,000 in this hand would have taken.
Oh, he's still.
And there's a club. A royal flush draw for Smith.
Boom!
11 outs for Kentucky Justice.
This would be Kentucky justice.
Yeah. At least make a royal flush if you're gonna win.
I want the royal flush. Boom!
Ah, red 4 and Kaiser doubles. Oh. No boom.
Yeah, Aaron Kaiser doubles, and he owes us all 5 minutes of our lives.
Well, he's still a short stack. They have more shots at him later.
160.
Meanwhile, Smith is reduced to 33 big blinds.
Hell no.
And you heard the tournament official declare that that is Kaiser's last stalling stunt.
You need to be careful. You can get a penalty.
I think pre-flop is understandable. Flop was.
Yeah, I agree. I think I missed it. Yeah, people have gotten penalties.
Check calling, I get it. You know, a little extra time there or something.
All right, it's time now for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. It goes to Dan Smith.
I'm all in.
He made a strong play with ace-king suited and kept his composure against Aaron Kaiser. Here's a look at the leaderboard. After the float gone wrong, Luis Velador used Kyle Karinen's chips to move into the chip lead with 37 left.
How does a 51-year-old top all these young guns? I'll tell you how. He plays great poker.
Tonight, the biggest story wasn't a player or a pot, it was the clock. It ran out on some. It almost ran out on Gol Ehrlichman.
Yes! Yes! Come on, baby!
And it was called on others.
You rolled me, dude. This would be Kentucky justice.
The push to day 7 is on. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.